Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the McConaughey at YouTube with another model video. Today, unboxing, building and reviewing the Pegasus Hobbies 172nd Panzer 38T light tank, Czech made and repurposed by the Axis powers, particularly Germany, in the later years on the Eastern Front. It's a lesser known, very detailed specialist brand with a small line on terrains, paper panzers and wargaming aesthetic. Fast and easy to build without sacrificing details and accuracy. The kit contains 4 runners, injection molded grey styrene and 2 slid mold hull and turret piece, and a double-sided A4 sheet of instructions in an incredibly clear and easy to follow isometric hand-drawn view. Part number corresponding with the runner number. No extra documentation such as a colour guide or decals included. With suitable tools and consumables, we're going to be building this with traditional techniques such as double cutting the parts off the sprue and cleaning up the nub. With solid guide pins to sockets, plastic cement is still required to adhere everything together, sometimes loosening sockets with a ream. The kit starts with the unorthodox process of turret first. Low parts count, very beginner friendly and not overwhelming. Parts have very sound grooves and slot right in place with a little glue filling in the seam. No putty needed. Each component, armament and stowage slots into place without the aid of putty. On the theme of quick painless work, all of the suspension, wheels and tracks are in one piece with the extra idlers and end wheels needing to be glued on, then slots immediately into the side of the hull. All of the frustrating, tedious and nasty parts of small scale armour modelling completely bypassed and assembled in a blink. In preparation of the main hull needing to be assembled, components such as the exhaust and more stowage is connected into the rear and front plates. Onto the following step of sandwiching the top and bottom hull together. It's a very small tank with tiny parts, but it's very generous in the guiding holes needed to slot small parts in with very little issues. Finishing this tank at a very reasonable scale and detail according to reference material. Finally, the turret has a bayonet fitting that slots and twists straight into place that allows a little articulation for play, dioramas or gaming. Pretty much lacks intimacy and challenge. It was very quick, but the fun part for me is just around the corner. With no split seams or imperfections, I'm jumping straight to painting rather than priming. Don't want the micro filler or extra layers to drown out some of the finer details. I will be using automotive paint that has been colour sampled from some old Mr. Hobby jars, thinned with automotive levelling thinner. All solvent lacquer based via a Neo Eco airbrush on a small aquarium pump compressor at 11 to 13 psi, thinned to a very watery viscosity that achieved a very fine mist coat and enough of a base coat to build up from plastic to the yellow. I moved up to 2 lighter colours to a near white sand, draping it across the side of the armour and the final lightest coats on top. I'm going for an Eastern Front camouflage scheme that includes a white top on a sand hull with more green, finely tiger striped across. Started with a very light grey and shaded white on the very top, then very slowly and painfully with a camouflage green painted each very fine line. I first adjusted by getting as watery of a viscosity as possible and practicing the thinnest of lines, and slowly one by one applying it across the tank at my own leisure. Finishing the airbrushing spraying proportion of the project. With a selection of hobby paints, all lacquer, a little thinner and a fine tip brush, hand painted all the detail I couldn't quite achieve with masking and spraying. First with a very dark grey and the outer edges of the wheels to depict tyre or rimming. Then with a burnt oxidized iron to do all the track links. This is a bit tedious as the tracks is not removable or a rubber band. I'd paint around the wheels, underneath, top and then the bottom. It does take a little while. Lastly, all the other detail such as oxidized red for the exhaust system, gunmetal for all of the smaller armaments and other stowage. With painting done, you got to have markings and decals. Even though it was not included in the kit, with the amount of kits I've built over the years, I've got a mass stockpile of leftovers. Plus aftermarket sets does leave you with enough to do several to a dozen kits. The reference I found only used a Balkan Cruise or bar cross, seen on all vehicles, and I've got a mountain of them. With that sealed with a bit of clear acrylic, the last step is definition and adding a sludge wash of Tamiya accent colour, heavily thinned down with a brush to sink into every rivet and detail panel. For the edges, a bit of pastel or weathering pencil. I'm using a makeup pencil and just lightly marking and highlighting the very sharpened edges of the corners. Allowing everything to sit and chemically harden over a few days, not to react badly. Finally added a coat of matte clear to dull all the glossiness and sheens down to a matte flat look, concluding the build. I've built a few Pegasus hobby kits. I think I've got their entire catalogue, and they've got some crazy and really fun kits, particularly the mouse and crazy cast hull flak panzers already reviewed on this channel years ago. Being a cast surface, they had incredible texture detailing on these kits. This one being riveted sheet metal, a bit different, but it's more so the subject. I have very high regards for this brand and definitely recommend it to be purchased and built by anyone, especially beginners who will have an excellent experience. Wargamers that just want to slap something very quick together and paint it will not be disappointed. I'm incredibly pleased with the finish, but I could have been a lot more finer and neater with the camouflage, but slowly getting comfortable to do stuff this small so I can go ham on some of my Imperial Japanese kits. Overall, no complaints, happy to display it, would even consider entering it in a competition or public. This concludes the video. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. Please check out the description section for references and links, especially all the various social medias that has similar posts put across them of finished builds and other things, events going on. If you feel inclined, I would like a like and happily interact with comments, especially answering questions, and we'll catch you guys next time, next week by that fact. See ya.